Hey Flosstube friends, it's Lana with Stellar Stitcher here today. It is June 13th, not June 13th, June 19th. So, Juneteenth. So, hello again, and I am back with another Flosstube. This is my channel about my cross stitch primarily, and also some quilting and sewing, either finished or in progress. I do have a few FFOs to show today and a variety of whips I'll be showing. And I'll have more life updates I think later. I'll do those later. But it's been a busy time. The last time I was here, I was planning on just going off to Florida, I think the next day or something. So was down there for 2.5 weeks, and it was a nice getaway. We rented a house that had its own pool. The pool was never really my warmth comfort level. It was always still kind of cool, which really surprised us because most of the time we were there, it was in the 90s, but there were several days where we had long rain spells. Not the typical little sprinkle type thing, but definite storms. So that probably cooled it off, and it would get some shade. So, but it was really nice to get a different type of exercise. And I did do some stitching there, but honestly, I was a little distracted and didn't keep up with it constantly. I also took English paper piecing, which is a type of quilt process, and I was actually into that a little bit more. It was a little bit easier with the sitting layout that I had. And of course, like, our routine was very different, which was a good thing. We were outside more and that sort of thing. So today I have my one and only t-shirt quilt that's in progress. This has been a project in the making probably since at least 2019. I did take a class. You'll see many t-shirt quilts are in, like, all the blocks, all the squares are the exact same size, and a lot of times they will have sashing rows in between them. I don't really care for that. I like more of a avant-garde style of different shapes and sizes of the blocks. So this particular style allowed for that, and I was really happy because these are all of my father's t-shirts from the many vacations we've taken and things that were his passions. He was a shad fisherman. There's a shad tournament or some sort of festival shirt in here. We have a Dollywood shirt, which is now kind of, on the endangered list, because I understand there's, I think, some problems with Dollywood right now. But I was really worried the other day. There were some shirts I couldn't get into the front of the quilt, but I'm hoping to applique them on the back somehow. But the other night I was going to sleep. I had just posted my progress on Instagram about this and got many lovely comments and reactions to it. My father passed away in 2000, so I didn't realize that my mom, first of all, that he had this many shirts, and that my mom had them for a very, very long time, and even moved them to the house she's in now. And so when I realized that and realized I was taking sewing classes, I was like, hey, do you have those shirts? I want to use them. So it's been really fun doing this. He was into archery, archery hunting, archery tournaments back in the 70s. But I was really concerned about this particular shirt. It's from Pikes Peak, Colorado. And he had a cousin who was raising his family there, and we went to visit, I think it was like 1986, and we did the whole cog railway that you take all the way up to the top of Pikes Peak. You feel all woozy up there because you're not used to the altitude, and then you pretty much come right down. But I was like, oh my gosh, where's that shirt? It has to be in there, because this was just such a really big vacation that we took, and we actually got out to California and a few other places. So anyway, back to cross stitch. This is my channel for cross stitch and finishing ideas. I do a lot of smalls. I do stitch in hand, and I've been cross stitching since about September 2020. So without further ado, I do want to actually, before I show my projects, I have been watching some new Flosstubers, and I did want to give some shout outs and recommendations. So one of them is Black Ribbon Stitch Studio, and I think she has been a Flosstuber for a few years, and she's very, very popular. So I'm really excited that YouTube recommended her to me. I recommend that you go back. It says it's 3 months ago. She did her 2024 Whip Parade, and here's, let's see if this will show. Here's what she looks like. And again, she is the Black Ribbon Stitch Studio. I don't remember her first name because it's been a few weeks since I watched her. And then have you, like everybody's jumping on the train to watch the Periwinkle Stitcher. She just put out Flosstube number 2 a few days ago. So I really highly recommend you watch Flosstube number 1 and then Flosstube number 2. She is, I should have said the Black Ribbon Stitch Studio. She's from somewhere in the South, US. The Periwinkle Stitcher, she is from the UK. She does a lot of samplers, predominantly samplers. She was showing the Stacy Nash Animal Crackers. I think she's working on that. And she also quilts. So she shows Lori Holt projects that she's done in Flosstube number 2. And I'm getting back to a little bit of a Lori Holt feel right now with, and I'll talk about that later. And then there's another Flosstuber who I totally love, but I'm subscribed to her on a different TV, and it doesn't sync up with my account in my tablet right here. So I can never find her, and I searched many different ways, but she is from the UK. She is an artist who goes around with her husband in an RV, and they go to shows where she sells her art. I'm not exactly sure what her art is, but she does the cross stitch for her downtime hobby art, and she works on a lot of samplers, but does a whole variety of things. She has a lovely Jamaican accent coupled with her British accent, and she giggles and she's just a delight to listen to, and you feel like you're right there with her. So I will try to find her name and put it in my description below. She did a whip parade not that long ago, and she had to do it in 3 segments. In fact, she even had a different hairstyle with each segment because of how it had to be broken up, and she had a lot to show. So I think she did it over 2 different time periods or whatever. So anyway, without further ado, if you're still hanging on, thank you for all the new subscribers who have come to see me. I think you might have been coming over from watching my friend Kathleen at Snickerdoodle Stitch, where she shows quite a lot of FFOs. She's really just, you know, a stitching fiend at this point. She's able to really crank out a lot of things. So I think that some subscribers were coming over from her. So hello, and I'm happy to have you here. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in. Here is a prior FFO. This is my only Patriotic item that I have, and it's been getting a little beat up. I think I have a little thread here. But this is part of a chart that is from a Stitching with the Housewives chart. I have a few of their Patriotics and just haven't finished any of them, but at least I have my cute little chicken and a flag. And this lovely piece, you know, with purposeful and added roughness. I can't come up with the word. That needs to be wiped off. This was from a thrift shop for like $2. So I like doing finishes like this where I can just use these clips and tack things in here. In fact, I am still finishing some pieces for my friend Jill, and one of them I'm like, I just need to kind of finish it like this so she can put it in something like this. That might be happening. So and I did want to get to that next and show some finishes that I have from my items and her items. So I showed this before. I think I had the pillow sewn but not stuffed. So now it is stuffed. It's kind of hard to show it in a cute way. I don't love the way the pom-poms are laying, the way that I wound up putting them on here. These want to fall back instead of being kind of forward. So I don't know if pressing would help. I may actually do more stitching to anchor them a little bit more so that they wouldn't be the floppy style. I will be having a consult with my friend Jill this Saturday. I'm very excited. We were former co-workers at QVC and don't get to see each other as much, and so I will be seeing her and need a consult with her pronto. Some of the finishes that I have been working on for her are now fully finished, so I am doing a little spoiler alert. So Jill, if you don't want to see them right now, turn away. She worked on the Brenda Gervais little Patriot booklet. I totally don't remember what that was called, but this is the sunflower, and she had purchased that rickrack to kind of just align it with a prim style, and I worked with that. She purchased fabrics like a fat quarter bundle and really loved these stars to go with it, so I think it is working out really nicely. Totally for a dole bowl type of, or I think she might have a tier tray, I'm not quite sure, but isn't that sweet? And the sunflowers, I think it all blends very nicely. I am not sure if the fabric is that, is it called Heroes or something like that, linen, and I don't know if it's Picture This Plus, but I tried to cut these a little, do a little fussy cutting so that I wouldn't chop off some of that color, because I think it really, you know, you just kind of wanted to retain that. This one I'm trying to play with how it is stuffed at the top there, because I wanted that flower to be a little bit more puffed out. I trimmed the margin a little too short compared to down here, but it'll be in a bowl and, you know, it'll be fine. Now, she may want to, with this one, I opted to, she wanted some pieces to have the stars on the front. I tried to fussy cut and sew this piece so that the stars would not be cut off, that the points wouldn't be cut off. And then I did the rickrack there. So I didn't do it any further around here because I think it would be a little too much. And it's stars on the back. I have another finish in progress. I am hoping to get back to this possibly today. I have shown this a few times now. So one of my life updates is that we did decide to part with a treadle sewing machine that my grandmother used. My mom does not know where it came from, like if it was handed down or if it was purchased used or acquired somehow. So I just wasn't trying it, using it. It had been in my house for 15 years or so, and we just are trying to part with some things that are taking up space. So I did sell that, and in the drawers there were lots of buttons. My grandmother, of course, and they were still had the thread in them from where she just snipped them off, whatever. Many people saved every, you know, piece of hardware, pieces of apparel to use them some other way. So I just put the buttons on the other night. I have cut this board out. It's sticky board, and I did batting on top of this. I think this is an Atomic Ranch fabric. I don't know if it is. I don't think it's Dune. I think Dune is a little bit darker. I used watermelon Belsois silk thread on this, and this design is from Luminous Fiber Arts. I was fortunate to pick up the pattern from the StitchCon Bee share table, swap table last year. So I finished this in late winter, I would say, and had to decide how I wanted to finish it. I may have done better to put it in a tote bag, but I am just so busy right now, I just can't seem to. A tote bag right now is feeling very daunting. I have tried to gather my belongings to sew a tote bag, and I'm just, hasn't happened yet. But I found this. It's actually like a little charcuterie tray shelf. That's how it was marketed. Found this for $2 at a thrift store. I want to spray paint it. I finally picked up the spray paint. I was looking for a chalk spray paint because I'm hoping that it will cover this design. This design is a little glossy. It's kind of like somebody rolled it across, and I have a feeling like it has just a little bit of a layer to it. So I'm hoping that the chalk paint just quickly covers it and we can move on from that step. And then I would mount this on here. And so I found, did you know, if you are a Magnolia fan, Magnolia Magazine, Magnolia Everything, from Joanna Gaines and Chip Gaines. I'm not a huge fan of them in particular, but Magnolia spray paint is out now, chalk paint, and some really nice, just subtle off-whites are part of their collection, and so that's what I'm planning to do with this. Now that I look at this way, like it's going to be a lot of like light color, you know, like almost I could look at this and be like, oh, maybe the background should be dark gray or something, but it'll be fine. Or even the natural might have even been just fine, but I don't care for this sticking out, so I have to paint the whole thing. So I'm getting there with that. And then actually this can sit up like this. You can have the legs out and it sits up and it's kind of like an easel display. The other option would be to take them off and put it in an easel. Or you could even put a frame, picture frame type hook on the back to hang it if you so desired. So that is probably the end of how close I am getting with some finishes. I will show you these pieces. I was inspired by the Sweet Water Stitcher. She showed many Flosstubes ago, probably at this point, how she does needle books that she gives as gifts at retreats, probably mostly like table gifts. And so I'm like, I like that. I want to do it. So I purchased, there's packs of these pre-cut wood pieces at Michael's in the impulse section towards the cash registers, and I think they're like $5 a pack of maybe 8 or 10. I used a spray temporary fabric adhesive and I sprayed them, and I put batting down and cut around the batting, and then I these were actually charm squares, so they were a square, and I sort of cut the corners off and mounted that over the batting and did a running stitch around the edge to pull it taut, and then you have a nice clean edge around here. On this side, I will do wool felt to cover this side, and I'm probably on one of the insides, this will be a needle book, we'll do a half piece that you could tuck a little scissors in there, or like your pack of needles, but the idea would be that it's a needle book and you can stick the needles on the wool felt. So when you close it, this would be the outsides. So the way she did hers, she has ribbon that connects the pieces, and then I think ribbon here to tie it. I haven't quite figured that part out yet and what I want to do. I do have a lot of ribbon to get through that I purchased at like a rummage sale, so that would be a good use of that, but I don't know that I have the right colors. So I'm trying to do this as frugally as possible, work through some of my stash of things that I already have, and we'll see what happens next. So the retreats I am headed to, in a few weeks, I will be going to Stitch, New Jersey. So if you're going to be there, I would love for you to say hello. Not exactly sure, of course, where I'll be sitting and what I'll be doing, but I mean, hopefully stitching and having lots of fun and chit-chatting with people. And then the next one will be in early August. I will be in Allentown at the Grace Notes retreat. So thankfully that one is like probably within an hour from where I am. And again, if you're going to be there, come and say hello. So I'm going to move on to whips and what I've been working on. Last time I talked about that I wanted to start, because I do like to work in May and June. I like to work on, I have a lot of strawberry type stitching. And so I have this whole bag now is dedicated to all of my Told in a Garden patterns. So I have quite a few of the Amish style patterns, and this is the Strawberries Forever. I am intending on stitching, probably like skipping the house row and the field. I was even contemplating not even putting the words forever under the stand, but we will see where I land with that. So I got myself really organized. I have my colors on here, and I did update some of the colors. I talked about that I wanted to make the colors a little bit more fresh, and so, but yet true to what I see Amish folks wearing. So I actually did a drive-by. There were, I think it was Ascension Day, actually. The Amish community is big on closing stores, and they celebrate Ascension Day, which typically it's a certain amount of weeks after Easter. And it always comes up to be a surprise. I've had a few cases where I've purposely made a trip to an Amish produce stand, or I went to Goods that day. The Goods is a Mennonite hardware type of store, and I was going to purchase DMCs. Well, they were closed for Ascension Day, and so not too far from there, I guess they do a lot of community events together, so they were playing softball and volleyball, and I actually took a picture, and I'm like, what color shirts are they wearing and dresses? So I did pick that aqua and that purple, and I made some floss changes. So it's like, just show the pattern, just show what you've done, right? So this is how far I am. It's really cool when you get going with those baskets. You can just keep running along, getting those done. I then made a little bit of a blunder and got off somehow down here with, I stitch up and down. Since I'm stitching in hand, it's easier to go up and down for me rather than rows back and forth. And because if I can make progress, I'm better at sticking with keeping going. And anyway, I had to pull some things out, so not too far with it, but at least I have a decent start. Now, what fabric is this? This is, it's either called like Sand and Sky or Sand and Ocean or something like Sandy Beach or something. And I'm pretty sure it's a picture of this plus. And this is an even weave. So I think it's a 28 count even weave. Maybe it's 32 count, but I was buying a lot of and finding a lot of 28 count. But what I like about that is that because of these over dyed fabrics, like being so, the dyeing process just, you know, the end result tends to be that they're a little bit tighter and smaller stitches anyway, which is kind of okay with me. So that is that. Honestly, I did not take this to Florida, so I have not worked on this really since early May. I don't know, pardon me, I don't know that I will get back to this anymore this year. I have quite a lot of summer stitching that I purchased at StitchCon last year that I want to start, and that is already in progress. So I still have to keep working. This is one of my, this was my StitchCon start last year. The Seaside Tiny Town. When I first saw these colors, I just was like, my mouth dropped open, and I just love them together. So I started at this end, and you would think that I would be much farther with this, but there's a lot of color changes. And of course, you know, I wanted to get further down the row, so I haven't finished the seagulls yet. I also was having trouble finding the colors for this. There were a few times I went to different places to like, okay, I'm gonna get all the colors for this, and so it's all kitted up. And I know that there's colors that, some of the grays or whatever, that I don't have. So that's kind of an issue, because then you're ready to go with it, and oh great, now I can't finish that section. But I have some of my projects in these little organza bags. That's what my floss looks like in here. Sometimes I am cool with, like, when I'm only using a little bit of a color, I like keeping the skeins intact rather than doing floss drops or anything else, because they, DMC, once you understand how to pull the skein, they're just so easy to, you know, pull off a small piece. So that is that. The other thing that I started on a whim at some point, I don't know that I started this and mentioned it in my last Flosstube, I think I did it afterwards, is Beach Boardwalk, the surf shop. And I've been thinking like, oh, well, now the Olympics are coming up. I need to have like a sports start or something. Well, I think it will be committing to just at least getting this finished. Now, the Olympics aren't starting for quite a while yet. I mean, over a month away. Perhaps I should try to complete this before then. This is exciting. This is my very first project where I am keeping with the whole row. This is the Boardwalk series is, I think, about 7 designs, and they're all buildings that would be on a boardwalk. So I've finished the ice cream shop. And this is my first project where I am following the designer's recommendation to go all the way across the whole piece and have a boardwalk at the end. So this one definitely will be getting professionally framed. I typically I haven't had anything professionally framed, but I don't think I've really had anything super big that I've finished either that warranted that. But when you get into this water and sand, I mean, I could easily sit and run that fully across. It's just so fun. But I'm trying to keep myself one pattern at a time and not do that. Same with the pendants at the top. It would be really fun to just keep going with those. It might actually be smart to keep going with those too. You know, not sure. And this fabric, this is an Aida. I did decide to go with an Aida. I was kind of on the fence about that. The actual patterns are shown on, oh no, they are kind of on a mint green. I think it's a seraphim. So let's see if I can quickly come to that. Okay, the fabric was Witchelt's 32 count star sapphire linen, which I always love, but I don't stitch on linen. I'll do even weave or Aida, and so I found this, and definitely it would be on a Swigart. It's got a little bit of modeling to it. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting. It's very subtle, which is kind of a bummer because that means in everyday light, when it's on display, the modeling may not show very much. There's a whitish type patch there that you can see. So I would like it to have a little bit more. It would have been nice to maybe tea dye this. But it's about the design, it's about the stitching, and not having an overabundance of modeling, maybe for this one. So very exciting. Just having this out today is now making me like, okay, I need to start working on this. I wanted to show, I made this project bag last year, and so this bag is dedicated to all my beach boardwalk patterns, and that crab I need to start pronto as well. Tiny Modernist, so cute. Maryland and crab areas are just within like an hour and a half from me or so, and so I love stitching Ode to the Crabs types of charts. And I thought my other one that I really want to get started, I thought that might be in this bag, but I'm not seeing it. I may find it in my next bag I open. So I was really thrilled to get started with this Heart and Hands, a Honey of a Frill. And now I want to stitch it, once I finish this, I want to stitch it in one of my 20 count linens that I have, so that it will be, and I would do two, well, it would be more like 4 threads over 4, I think is what I do, to make it bigger. And then I would most likely be putting that on a bag. But I chose this banding that I picked up in March at the Needlework Extravaganza that was in New Jersey. First time for that marketplace type event, and I just love it. I picked up this banding at one of the vendor stands. The banding is made in Germany, and so I'm still figuring out how I will, you know, finish this. I did pick up an old style hanger, like vintage cross stitch supplies, from one of the cross stitch shops that I go to, and might, you know, do that sort of treatment with this so that it could actually hang. So we'll see. So I don't have too much more to go on that, so I really need to keep with that and get that one finished. Okay, and let me see here. I just wanted to show my other bees. I am looking out the window. Of course, like other places, we are in the full heat snap from across the country. And one of our favorite dogs that comes to visit us, I think she is out there right now, and she was getting prepped the other day wearing her cooling scarf for when she goes out this week. These are just so adorable, but what I'm most excited about is that I am going bold with these and putting them on this Atomic Ranch Granny Smith fabric. I hope I like my choice on that. I don't know that I would make all of them. This one's my favorite, and then the one with Daisy. And this is a Robaris pattern. Also purchased at StitchCon last year. I did not start my Chubby Bee yet. I just love the Chubby Bee. And I know that if you go over to Kathleen Snickerdoodle Stitch, she has an adorable finish. But I love this hive, of course, that I'm sure is Chantel's design. Don't know that for sure, but. And I was trying to find my strawberries that okay, here we go. I purchased this pattern on clearance at a December clearance event at Stitching Post in Maryland. And got a decent start on it. Now, I did take this to Florida, pardon the hanging thread there. I did change the color. I'm not using the called fors on this. When I started working on the vase at the bottom, I was kind of like, oh, that is like suddenly very, very black, very dark. Would I have liked doing something with more of a charcoal color or brown? And I was watching TV and kind of getting off a little bit with some of my counting, so I know that I have to go back and just make sure that that is accurate. So then it was one of those moments where I was like, you know, this is, I have to think too much about this one. So I packed it up since we were in Florida and I wasn't able to stick with it. These berries are so fun to stitch. They're pretty easy, and using the same color floss for the stems and then the flowers, just the berries, just make it nice and easy to just keep zipping along. So I really did enjoy that part. I'm sure you're wondering what threads I used, and I am too, because I have a whole bunch of things in this bag. Oh, is it in here? Let's see. Yeah, the threads are in here. But, okay, here we go. When I was at Needlework Extravaganza, there was a shop that was selling older limited edition flosses, like in bulk. And so I have been using those, just sort of trying to match colors and using that since I was like, okay, you bought all this floss, like, let's start using it. So the berries are definitely in this, and it's kind of hard to talk about them because I don't know that these are available anymore. This is called like Daphne by, oh gosh, I can't even really make out what that says. Kim's Fibers maybe is what it says. So I don't know if it's even available. And then many of these were limited editions of Gentle Arts, which I love Gentle Arts threads. Hello, now that I see that in the camera, that's the color I should have used for for the vase. I sort of feel like might be doing a little ripping later. So lots of fun things to stitch on. That's the problem. I mean, it's the great thing and it's the problem at the same time. Just wanted to show that I picked this up since I have so many bee stitches going on. So I definitely need to get my chubby bee kitted up and use that. And I'll just show this floss I picked up. Oh, I pretty much do have my chubby bee kitted up. I did put flosses in there so it's ready to go, and stuck it in this bag to Florida. I had to, you know, we flew down, so I had to sort of commingle things. But oh, that's not really what I thought this was. No. I do love this honeycomb. This is Classic Colorworks. I love this honeycomb. So if you have like a hive or a section that's in a bee chart, I sometimes use this. It's already variegated, so why do 2 or 3 different colors to make a hive, and you can just keep zipping along and you've got your hive variation made. And then also I had picked up this at the Rebel Stitcher retreat last October for the same thought. Variegation for hive stitching in particular. So both of these are in my Chubby Bee kit for when I get to that part. Okay, so we are moving along. Wow, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be very long. Like, I don't have too much. I hope you're sticking with me. Thank you if you are. And just want to jump into a little patriotic stitching that's happening. Making very good progress. I'm very excited now. I came home and something happened. I think it was Memorial Day. I was like, I want to do my patriotic stuff. So last year I had picked this up. I saw it made as a stand-up, and that was down at Salty Yarns in Berlin, Maryland. And so I outlined, I am doing this on the large linen I mean, I call it large, but it's, I don't know if they said in the store it's 18 count, but it really feels like 20 count, or the other way, that it's 20 count and it seems like it's 18. So what I do is, with this one, I am doing an entire 6 threads over 4. No, over 2. Over 2. I outlined the skirt area, like this blue part, and when we were driving out to StitchCon last year, I filled that in, and I decided that on the pattern, so here, at the bottom of the skirt, I was like, I really like the stripes for the whole thing. So I completely changed the pattern and I went with stripes for her skirt. So it is a bit bold, but I love it. I think it's so adorable. I do like, they used bandana. So, you know, with it being Little House Needleworks, all but 2 threads that are the called fors are the Classic Colorworks. And so the top of the dress was meant to be bandana, and I did purchase bandana, and it's lovely. It's, to me, what I would call very burgundy, and the variegation in it is really cool. But I wanted to stay with more classic red and blue. Now, I sort of made a little bit of a mistake, and I decided to follow the pattern with this blue here, which I think is blacksmith blue. Yeah, blacksmith blue. The blue down there is one of the 900s. It might be 924 and or 912, I forget. But I kind of like the difference, and as I work on the flag, I think I'm going to use, I might repeat this here. I just need to kind of repeat the blues a little bit to, you know, coordinate them. Her skin tone is a little wonky because I didn't have what they were recommending, so I blended 2 different skeins, and so she's looking like she's got a little sun, but it's really going well. Now, before, when I started this, I thought, oh, I'm not going to fill it in, you know, that fabric, you know, totally makes up the stars and whatever. I'm now leaning towards filling it in, and it gets the accrue DMC, and I think it will just look better if it's filled in, and I'll feel better about it. I did do back stitching at the bottom of the skirt since I changed that, and I did make an error somewhere with the top in here and the width and whatever, but it worked out so far, so I'm just going to keep on going. Of course, I was trying to maximize, this linen is very pricey, so I was trying to maximize my linen use, and I went a little thin on this side for when I'm going to have to build that out to do a stand-up, but as my mother said, I might have to make a gusset and sew fabric on the side to let it expand on the, when it would get filled or whatever. I'm just going to act confident like I know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then final whips, or whip. I am really trying to get some progress on this year, and at this point I'm ready to start on the letters. I have been trying to start on the bunting at the top and trying to work down. My eyes jump around as I'm trying to follow which row I'm on. So again, or column, I stitched, what I'm trying to do with this one, because I I tried the first time going left and right, and that was a disaster for me. I'm trying to go column by column and up and down. I did pretty well, but then I noticed the other night I made a mistake again. I think I'm past that. I think I pulled it out and I'm past it, or I have to redo it again. So this is my progress. The fabric colors more like this, which I love. It's an Ada, but I'm not quite sure which one. It's definitely a Picture This Plus, because I was working with Picture This Plus for these things. I have a feeling that it's Heartland. Although, no, Picture This Plus is even softer than this, so I'm really not sure. All right, so that is that. So I will be continuing with my projects, and I do have a little haul to go over. I'm not sure if I already showed this, but this was a great find, I thought, at Marshall's. It's got this probably faux wooden top, although it does feel like a wood, which I thought would be great for some sort of finish. Probably like a JBW Designs. It could very well become the cat treat jar. I have the cats in the round to finish, or it could be for sewing things, because I have the sewing in the round. This is the tag if you would want to look for this. I think it was $5, like $3.50 or $5, something like that. Found this in the past week. My bedroom is beachy themed, and I just have many crab projects that I'm working with, so I thought when I finally get some finishes done, this will be part of the nice display, but it definitely works in my display now. And along with the crab and beachy finishes, I found these at Joann's, really marked down, and I thought, oh, I can do something with those. So either I would use them as they are, now you do have to paint them, or I would just use the wood pieces to suit what and honestly, I didn't really pull this out fully to see. I kind of was hoping and thought, yeah, so here the crab is by itself, which is nice. And it's got this tray that you stand everything up in. So if you didn't like one of these pieces, you could just skip it. Like if I don't really want the foliage, I don't have to put it in there. But I have a few different spray paint colors now, and I thought, well, I can just easily go outside and spray some stuff and get that going. So last week was going to be spray painting. Well, it was because it was so nice and there was no humidity, but there was too much of a breeze. And we've been having a lot of pollen, and we have trees in the back, and I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So now it's just extremely too hot. So if I got out there early enough, I'm sure I could do it. That's just a problem for some reason to do that. So anyway, this one is like this. So I thought they were kind of cute. They were definitely 50% off, if not 60% off. So they were like $5 a piece. And that was Joann's. I think also at Joann's I saw these cute pieces. Here is a popsicle. I am all about popsicles. I have a popsicle table runner that I made and finished last year. Here is a cute friendly ghost. And I have a few small ghost cross stitches to do, so definitely they will get finished on here. And then this was fun. I don't know if I'll keep it in this format, but they're kind of small to do a cross stitch in the middle of them, especially the ones that I know that I'm working on. Mine are going to be bigger, but I just thought they were cute, and of course on sale. Okay, so I think that concludes all of my show and tell today. So my quick life updates are that I might have said that my job ended. I was doing a contractor role, so I am looking around, and while I was in Florida, I saw an awesome job that I would love to have. It is another contractor role that would last for about a year, but what I'm really trying to do is not just jump right back into the type of corporate work I was doing before. I feel like I have done that for my career, and for me, that time has run its course. I'm sort of looking a little bit more part-time things, and maybe I would do a few things at once. You know, we'll see what happens. But the job that I'm looking at is a research assistant, pulling together files that ultimately support the 250th anniversary of the country. And with that anniversary coming up, I knew that I wanted to do something to support that, and the fact that I could get paid to do some research would be awesome. I would have to travel a little bit, like an hour and a half to the next county over, but to me it's worth it, and it would be like 30 hours a week. So I think some of the work I could do from home, but then definitely I would be going to historical societies and having to do like research from archives and things, which is totally what I would love to do. Our fridge broke on Saturday with two, I mean, truly went out with a bang. Two kind of explosions happened, and my mom had been telling me she was hearing these loud pops, and I didn't fully think that there was a big deal about it. Now, this has been going on for well over a year, and the refrigerator often makes different noises with the ice maker and different things. And refrigerators, if you look it up, it is a thing. It's just how different parts are made. Well, I was helping her with something, and she really got super startled, like was almost shaking because of it. And then soon after it had happened again. So I had to turn the circuit breaker off, and, you know, the immediate meltdown started. So that's been a joy. Towels on the floor. The trash went on Monday, so we were able to throw out a lot, but we did save some things. We have been eating some things, and things have been going okay, but we're pretty much past that point now. So we did a lot of furniture or fridge shopping, and my big recommendation to you is, if you know you are at that questionable spot, your fridge is older, and that you want to have something in particular, we are not stainless steel fridge people. We would love for the bisque, almond, ivory appliance trend to come back, please, because we love that. We have lovely cream GE appliances now, and you just can't get them. So we would go to these stores, and they were these male guys that were always helping us, and they're like, yeah, they don't do that anymore, like, oh, that's so old, and type of thing. And we're like, okay, can you just soften that up a little bit? Oh, it's all stainless steel now. So we knew, though, that there were still white appliances. Well, not so much in the fridges that give you the bells and whistles of the drawers that pull out and the newer styles. Even GE Profile was not making that. Or what's out there, you can't get it until like August. So we have decided to get Samsung Bespoke. We ordered a fridge, and we ordered a dishwasher so that they will match. The dishwasher does need to be replaced as well. And the fridge comes tomorrow. So it's been a few days dealing with this, and of course when you have, you know, 90+ degree weather, it's definitely not been fun, but it's okay. And I am pretty much preparing to send 2 of my quilts to the Garden of Quilts in Thanksgiving Point. I think that's how it is called, Thanksgiving Point in Utah. It is an event that is partially sponsored by Riley Blake Designs. So if you want to see what that is all about, you can go check out their Instagram, check out their website. There's information about Garden of Quilts. There is like a $25 admission fee, application fee, and you do need, your quilts need to be selected and approved. And then I will be shipping them, and they will be hung in these public gardens for a certain period of time. I don't know if it goes on a whole week. I won't be going there. I'm not planning on going there, but I'm hoping that I can connect with somebody to photograph them if they get selected. So one is my applique quilt that I showed in a prior episode, where it won at least one award at a local fair last year. It's a Lori Holt inspired quilt that combines pieces from her Bloom quilt as well as her, I think she calls it autumn pots or flower pots quilt. So I'm calling it my blooming pots quilt. And then also I plan to send my Patriotic stars quilt with the Olympics coming up and our USA Pride for that, as well as our big election year this year. I wanted to send that quilt as well. So should be pretty exciting to just, you know, participate in something that's part of the quilters, makers community. So all right, well, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll put more information in the description below again about those Flosstubers. So happy stitching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.